So this is the third time I've tried to film this review, so hopefully it goes alright this time. Stupid SD card, I'm looking at you in there. I can't really see you, but still. But let's talk about Gotham Season 5, Episode 2, guys, hopefully for the final time. Hopefully I don't have to do this again and scrap all of my thoughts and then just restart again, hoping it turns out just as good. And if you... What is up, Gothamites? Welcome to my Gotham Season 5 Episode 2 review and breakdown. Believe it or not, I've said that for the third time. Well, you kind of got that from the intro. But anyway, so this episode was a good episode, but believe it or not, I think I actually enjoyed the first one more. Just on entertainment value, I generally found that to be a more solid episode. This had a lot of developments in it. I'm not negating that. Don't get me wrong, this episode was still good. Now, I would never say, well, I don't think at least, that a single Season 5 episode is really going to be filler, because naturally, as we all know, this season has been split into like 12, well, in half. It's just 12 episodes, so you would have thought, well, and what we know is we're going to get a lot of jam-packed, mind-blowing stuff coming this season, especially probably from the mid-season point onwards. It's going to be really, laying it on thick with that plot. And this episode just had, I'm not saying it needed Penguin or anything like that, and it did address some, really cool issues, but out of any episode you could probably say in Season 5, this was the one where it was just a bit like, okay, it's Gotham, it's cool, it's Season 5, but not an awful lot happened. Just some interesting stuff that had to happen, like Selena, and we saw Ivy again, which was really cool, and things like that. So before I get into this review and go in depth with it, I suppose, be sure to subscribe if you're brand new here. Obviously, I'm going to be reviewing every single Season 5 episode, and check out some of my other videos and stuff like that. And of course, like this video if you do go on to enjoy it. Of course, you Gothamites always smash that. But it really does help out the channel and really does just help the video get noticed a little bit more if you hit that like button. Okay, I still see we're recording 3 minutes 30 in, but it's probably not 3 minutes 32 because of the cuts and stuff like that. But anyway, the episode starts off with Will Thomas. As we kind of know from the end of last episode, he went into GCPD, and I'm guessing this picked up more or less straight after that. But what we can't forget about Jim is that there's a 100,000 rounds or something reward if you bring Jim Gordon to Penguin. I can't remember if it was dead or alive. I'm pretty sure Penguin would want to do it himself. I don't think Penguin would anyway, because of their history, but that's another topic. But either way, that was the beginning of this episode. That was kind of the storyline for Jim and Harvey. Harvey really cracked me up this episode. I freaking love you, Donald Logue. Man, he's brilliant. And of course, the other main plot of this episode, and this is what I mean, there was just kind of a couple of things going on in this episode, really, was Bruce Wayne going for the witch, the mysterious witch, which we all guessed was Ivy. What I will say is that it's really good to see Ivy again. I love Peyton List being Ivy. I have to say, she probably is my favorite iteration. Now, Gotham, as we know, have gone up, down, leftwards and right with their storyline sometimes. I truly believe not all the time they knew exactly what they were doing. Even the showrunners have admitted that. They've sometimes, hit the ground running with certain different ideas. But regardless of, how you view Gotham, I kind of like the non-traditionalist kind of sense in how the villains have brought out Batman and stuff like that. I really like with what they did with Ivy at the end. Finally, they got there, and they really have given us an Ivy with freaking Ivy plants interweaving themselves within those people, feasting on them, as was pointed out in this episode. But, that's proper comic book cool stuff. And the costume design that she had and everything like that. And you guys know I always commend them for this, was just spectacular. But we'll get into that a little bit later because, first of all, I just want to get out the way Edward Nygma, because sure, they chucked him in this episode, and I don't want to rub it in by saying, oh, look, Ed's, rehashing what he's doing, blah, 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 but I will just say, like the first episode, there's not too much stuff going on with Ed that we haven't seen before in previous seasons now. So I'm not going to lie and say, him waking up on the bed with his, hands locked down in chains wasn't entertaining, and him finding a guy in his freaking bath, and, he finally thought that he'd tricked Ed, by chaining himself, that he wouldn't be, walking out at night and doing all the other Riddler things that he doesn't want to do. But, as I said, it's just a shame that we're not getting full-blown Riddler, I guess, throughout the season. And as I said, I think it will go through episode 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 and beyond, until he becomes, one identity again or something like that. But who knows, Gotham might be trying to set up that this Riddler guy really will forever struggle with his personalities, but I just got a feeling that's not going to happen, and he will find it, but just not right now. But what I do like about this storyline, however, is that regardless of if it's rehashing, it still is entertaining, because, you know, the actual Riddler side of him, Ed, Idiot Ed as he likes to call it, is, I think he's trying to start a war with Penguin, because obviously through that street demon guy, they went to the hideout of the street demons, and the leader was dead, everyone was dead, and it says Penguin was here. Now, I don't think that was actually Penguin. I think that was the point. I hope I haven't misread that. He hasn't got an army behind him to actually go up to Penguin and troll Penguin himself and start a war himself, so he's trying to do that through other means. And I do not know how Idiot Ed, single-handedly took out all those men, but you have to assume he did and blamed it on Penguin, and that is going to, you know, start repercussions in the next episode or beyond, which is pretty cool. So even though, as I said, it is a bit rehashing, it's not without its coolness and entertainment qualities to it. So let me know what you thought of the Ed stuff. Now, I do want to mention that scene in the Sirens and just Barbara in general this episode. I love how when they were entering the Sirens, you know, they were playing Ring of Fire. I love Johnny Cash, even though that wasn't Johnny Cash. But either way, Barbara, I actually really felt sorry for her here. Now, whether you find Barbara annoying or whatever, I'm really liking her this season so far. I felt really sorry for her, especially that closing like 10 seconds of this scene where she was just, you know, like basically crying because she's taking Tabitha's death really, really hard. And her main driving factor at the minute is going to be revenge, you know, revenge against Penguin, and that is basically why she's helping Jim out. I like how they are establishing the beginning of her anti-hero-ness this episode for this season so far, because if you didn't know already, you know, John Stevens, one of the showrunners, did say that by the end of this season, Barbara will more or less kind of be, well, take this with a grain of salt, a hero in a way. And you can definitely see the beginnings of that this episode. She lent Jim the trucks so he could, you know, go after the rest of the kids, because it's Jim Gordon. Of course, if his life is in danger, he's still going to try and risk his life saving those kids. You know, Barbara comes along later, but we'll get to that. But, you know, I am really enjoying her character. I am, you know, intrigued as to the whole demon's heady kind of stuff, because if I remember correctly, she still has that power inside her somehow. So yeah, I hope they tackle that. I hope they will, but we're gonna have to wait and see. Now, when they were entering the dark zone, that was just hilarious. As I said, well, I don't know if I said it in this review because I've recorded this a couple of times already, but Harvey cracked me up this episode when those arrows were piercing the car. It was just, he was just, I don't know. You guys know what I mean by that scene. He just makes me laugh so much. There was another scene as well later on, which I'm sure I'll get to, and they find the place where the kids were working, and that place does honestly remind me, it might be a reused set, but if you know where Jeremiah and Echo were dancing, where we've covered this Gotham news before, and there was that wood, you know, up against the window and stuff like that, it literally does look like that place. So I'm not sure if any of you guys noticed that as well. I'm not sure if it's meant to be the same place or if it's just a reused set, as I said. But what we saw is that this gang, this new gang, if you will, where we're trying to drill a tunnel to the mainland, they only got 100 yards, and that would take an extortionate amount of time. It is quite a good idea, to be honest, because, you know, as they said, they would get trade and everything like that. But yeah, under the water and everything like that, I don't know how that plan would work, but okay. But Jim manages to have a little bit of success with rescuing the kids. But, you know, Barbara's trucks get abandoned there and they're on foot. And this is where they enter the house where Mother is. Now, I have to admit, when we found that place where this gang was training up all those people to work for them, dig the tunnel and all that, I thought, oh, maybe I was wrong on my prediction then that Mother was nicking the children. Now I technically was in a way, because those children weren't the same, you know, wasn't the same kid as, you know, when they went in that hotel or whatever it was where the candle was lit, and in that hotel, you know, we had the kid, probably the same kid who was shanking that body at the end of last season. But what I will have to say is what we saw from Mother, obviously, who was teased at the end of last season. She was very interesting, very creepy, very, very creepy. I have to admit that she really was. They did a good job there. I wasn't scared on the edge of my seat or anything like that. I'm used to watching a lot of scary kind of films, horror films, thrillers and stuff like that. But, you know, I could appreciate the way they filmed it and the way they, you know, had her running around with that strobe light that was meant to knock them out or, like, you know, sedate them in a weird hypnotizing kind of way. That was a really interesting, way of doing it. But of course, when Harvey was downstairs just before this, I almost forgot, when he was finding the fingers and everything like that, and he was freaking out, and then she just came after him, and she just threw Mother into like the shelves or something like that, like full swing. I don't know, that just made me laugh so much. And just that scene where they were even talking to Mother, and Harvey was just like, "You're just this crazy bitch who kills people and takes their stuff and burns their bodies." I was just almost in tears laughing. They go outside, and that is when Sykes and his gang turns up again, and there was that other gang. I have to admit, when I was covering this months ago when they were filming this, I thought there'd be a bit more to that other gang with like the skulls painted on their face, but straight up Gordon just shoots her in the head. They both want a piece of Jim, because naturally they'll get like 100,000 rounds of ammo. Now in Gotham's no man's land, that is extremely valuable. It means you can have a bit of protection, or if you want, go and invade another place because you'd be equipped to do so. But that's when good old Barbara comes along. Now I really like this moment, because I think she's doing it not only because, if she thinks that she's helping Jim, he will help her obviously take down Penguin, and that is what she wants more than anything else. But there is that hint of their history there. She does like him. We know they'll probably more than likely get romantic this season from teasers in the trailer. Can't wait to see stuff like that. She even said the words very sarcastically, but I definitely feel like the writing was there deliberately. Oh, it must be love. So I feel like their relationship will develop. But either way, bottom line here is somewhat anti-hero Barbara begins, and I can't wait to see her journey from here on out in this season. And, hopefully she redeems the name in a lot of people who didn't like the Barbara character last season, including myself. I wasn't that keen, as you guys know. But so far, really strong, and I can't wait to see where that all goes. Now, let's go back to Ivy for a second. I really, really enjoyed her character this episode. As I've already talked about briefly, the design and everything of that whole area was really cool. I love the comic booky, kind of accurate clothing mixed in with Ivy plants. Costume that she had. She said that she didn't kill those men, it was more the plants protecting her, and I found that really cool, because that is a thing that would be the case. But once she killed all those guys with this somewhat machete out of nowhere, that was really, really badass, and I did not expect that. Now, even though she was calling Selena this cold bitch and blah blah blah, she destroyed the rest of the Lazarus waters. Now doesn't mean the Lazarus pit or pits are gone or anything like that, but anything they can access, it's not like they know where the other ones are or the other pit is. So, Ivy's pretty salty that she can't grow any more plants with the Lazarus pit waters. If you guys remember that scene from last season that Selena destroyed. So even though she didn't strictly want to help Bruce there with, healing Selena, I definitely think there is a bit of sentimentality there. That whole conversation Bruce had with Selena towards the end of the episode, and how she will always be that little girl to her. I definitely feel like not only was that thrown in just because, of remembering the old Ivy, but it's also meant to kind of, if you reverse that, also, I think deep down means the same thing for Ivy too. Because I just definitely didn't buy the whole reason that she let Bruce go with that root or seed, if you will, is because, promise me you'll leave me alone. No, Ivy could have just killed him there and then if she wanted to. There was definitely more to it than that. As much as she doesn't want to admit it, as much as she's turned to this cold-hearted, whatever Alfred called her, which is true, there is that deep, deep down desire of helping Selena, because she helped her many years ago. Well, not many, many years ago, but on the streets. Now, if you've been following my videos or just anything else out there, we all knew what this would do to Selena. And so when we were watching Ivy's reaction, or when Bruce had run out because there was only so much time, Selena had to eat it before it expired or, just died, being out from the ground. Ivy's little greedy, sadistic face or whatever it was, she knew what was likely to happen to Selena. She probably didn't know exactly what was going to happen, but as Ivy put it herself, it brings out the darker side of their nature. Essentially that is unlocked and set free, and that is what happened to Selena. It was also sad seeing Selena here again as well, because at the end of the day, when she took that route, she took it so fast, and that was obviously a very deliberate thing. As soon as she had it in her hand, she just swallowed it straight away, because basically, Selena wants to die if she's not going to get better, and if it makes her better in terms of walking again, then it's a win-win really for her. If she dies, she gets what she wants. If she gets better, but then that's great too. So that's kind of twisted in a way, but I get the psychology there. She's really miserable. As Bruce said, she's lost the will to live. Cameron's doing a great job of her acting this season so far, and it looks like from the promo of next episode, it looks like it's going to be very interesting here on out. Now, when she started taking it and she was fitting, it was really good acting from David Mazouz as well. You know, he's like, oh God, what have I done? Obviously, I can't recreate that, but the way he said that, I really felt it. You really felt how much he cares about Selena. And could you just imagine what would have happened if she would have died? Bruce would have never, ever, ever been able to forgive himself. So I don't know, I just really felt like he already felt that and conveyed that across the screen in that moment. Good as new, really, better than ever in her own words, but we know she's changed. We know that she's going to be a bit more Catwoman-y and feral, and, you know, she even, and I will talk about this in my promo, you know, hisses in the promo, and I'll get, as I said, I'll get to that. And as she was hugging him, we saw the cat eyes. Now, I really hope personally, you know, it's not the end of the world, but I really hope personally that was just for effect to poke in there like, oh, she's Catwoman now. Like, this truly is, she's crossed the line now. Like, before the line, it was a journey to Catwoman. Now she stepped over the line. Now she is essentially Catwoman minus, you know, now she just needs to get a bit older maybe. Apart from that, she's already on that journey. I hope that that's not like a metahuman-esque ability that she can just activate to see through cat eyes or something like that. I hope that was just to blatantly spell to the audience because they felt the need like they had to. And, you know, you could put it down to comic book logic of, oh, the plant, when it healed her, brought out her inner blah, blah, blah cat stuff. It glared it at the screen. But apart from that, it's not going to do anything else. You could argue it's out of a system, blah, blah, blah. And I hope that's the way it will go. Because I don't want a freaking cat-eyed Selena. I just don't dig that. I prefer, and I do know Gotham do things differently, but I would just prefer, yeah, of course, she's going to act different and everything like that, but don't introduce the eyes into it from here on out. Now, next episode does look very, very cool. I will have the promo out either later today or probably tomorrow, Saturday, just to like give it a little bit of time. But let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Let me know what you enjoyed. Let me know if you agree and disagree of anything. But other than that, everyone, subscribe if you're brand new. Like this video if you did enjoy it. Of course, if you want to support me a bit further, check out my merch shop. Links are in the description down below. Also to my Patreon, and of course the Discord server, which is completely free. Even if you don't know what Discord is, it's a place where you can talk to fans of the Boba community, talk about Gotham and other shows. All the subscribers are there, so you'll be amongst like-minded people. So check that out, of course. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you Gothamites in the next video. Goodbye.